Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like...
What an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around. And I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to a special edition of the Pete Primeau Show. We are broadcasting from Australia today with Aimee Griffiths, episode 213, Sleep Elevated. Let me pay the bills and we'll get with Aimee right away. If you have been sleeping under a rock and you don't know that I have a new book out, I don't know where you've been. Just go on Amazon and grab it right now. We're getting rave reviews, and it's not just my book. There's 11 other contributors to this, some of the best in the industry. Jeff Janakovo, Scott Vaughn, Chris Tahaney, you name it. We've got a who's who of contributors. My friend Steve Carnes contributed, and it's been just a crazy success so far. So thank you. And don't forget about my original book, Sell a Million. And this is a marketing book, despite the title. It's a business book, and it will help you turn that door. If you need more door swings, that is the book for you. And thank you to my friends at the Mattress Industry Network group for sponsoring the show. If you want to learn how to build, market, and succeed, this is the group for you. I think we're over 2,400 strong now. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Steve, for sponsoring the show. We appreciate everything you do. And if you are in the mattress industry and you are looking to build, market, sell, and succeed, come on in. It's 100% free. It's our free Facebook group. Just hit that QR code that my producer Chris is going to put up on the screen there and say hi to me. So, Aimee, welcome to the show.
Pete, so great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm pumped.
So you should be pumped, because there is no way. I know. Here, Chris, I knew Chris would be right here right now. Chris Tahaney says, sharpen your pencils, y'all. Homegirl is here. One of the best in the world. Literally, get on LinkedIn and follow Aimee.
He is too kind. I'm so glad to call Chris a friend. I feel very grateful.
And Chris is the one that introduced me and Aimee, and basically told me, I gotta have Aimee on. So here you are, Aimee. Aimee's in Australia, and ladies and gentlemen, I have to say this. This is one woman who is committed to helping elevate sleep. And I'll tell you why. Because it's Saturday morning, super early in the morning in Australia. So thank you, Aimee. Thank you for making time for us. So tell me how you got started in this business.
That's my pleasure. Where else would I rather be on a Saturday morning? Gosh, how did I get started in this business? Well, I was kind of born into the industry. So my parents were actually franchisees of a bedding and furniture store from a really young age. So I grew up doing stock takes in like after school with them in my school uniform. And, I was working in admin on my school holidays and doing admin for them. So it was really something that both my parents were really passionate about. And then naturally, when I went to study, I was working part-time in a bedding and mattress store in Australia called Harvey Norman quite a big retailer here. And I worked part-time while I was studying. And actually, Pete, congratulations on your new book, by the way. That's super exciting. And one of the things that, if I can tell a little story, one of the things that actually set me off in my career was while I was working there part-time in this bedding store, one of my reps, and I remember her name. Her name was Emma Smith. So this is, gosh, a little bit, I'm going to show my age here. It's a little bit over 20 years ago. And I was 19 years old. I was working in a bedding store part-time, and I got offered to move. I'm from a very small town, so well, not very small, but about 75,000 people where I grew up. And then I moved away and got offered a role in a bedding shop, in a big bedding store in Domain in Sydney. So to move to Sydney from a small town was a little bit of a big thing at the time at 19 years old, where I didn't know anyone. And this rep, my Sealy rep, her name was Emma Smith. And back before there was podcasts to listen to or Industry Network, which I think is just such a great thing now, Emma organized a dinner to send me off, and she gave me a book. So the importance of you writing a book and having books like this in industry, if you are a sales rep or you have someone that is, working in the industry, you really want to spark that fire. I remember to this day, she gave me this book. She wrote a note in it and she said, "You're going to do amazing things." And I kind of took that with me the whole time. And she was the first person in industry to really have an impact on me. So being able to give someone a book is a really special thing. So everyone jump on and buy Pete's book. And if you have someone that you feel like you can light that flame in them, 20 years later, I'm still in the industry. I tried to get out, and now I can't get out. Once you're in, you're in.
What was the name of the book?
It was, okay, so this was before the Pete Primeau books were out. So it would have been back in 2004, and it was called Spring Training. I don't know if you remember.
I love Jerry Morris.
Jerry Morris, Spring Training.
So Jerry Morris is the reason you're talking to Pete Primeau.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously. Yeah. Jerry Morris was a Serta sales rep for many years, and he did a lot of sales training, and that was his thing. He loved sales training even more than the repping piece of it. And he wrote 2-3 different books. Anybody that hasn't bought this book, buy it. Buy all of his books. There's more books than that. There's Spring Training, then there's 1 or 2 more. Anything that says Jerry Morris, you guys should grab. Sell More Beds Guaranteed. That is a great book. As a matter of fact, that book specifically, Sell More Beds Guaranteed, that is the actual format of my book. So what this book is, this is all of my blogs that I took down, and then I added 8 other authors to it, making a total of 11 different authors, really, so that it was up to date. But basically, there's a link in my book, Aimee. You're going to get the biggest kick out of this, that actually takes you to one of Jerry's articles. And the reason why is, number one, I was shocked that Jerry's articles were still out there. And I asked myself, is this relevant for today? And I said, oh my Lord, yes, it is relevant for today. And then the second question I asked myself, Aimee, was, can I make this better? I reread it and I go, who's kidding who? Jerry, most of my book is Jerry. Like, he really wrote it. Like, I would send my articles, because my writing was so bad, to Jerry. Jerry would rewrite them and send them back to me. I mean,
wow.
Yeah.
He's a great and an industry legend, right?
I love him. I love him as a human being. I love him for what he did for our industry. So
that's so cool.
That's a great book. No, I recommend all of Jerry's books to everybody. Always. They're timeless, actually.
Yeah.
He
absolutely.
was so good at telling a story and kind of making it stick. Like you could read one of his articles and go out on the floor and make a sale because of it, because it just stuck to you. Like you couldn't get rid of it. Like sometimes you read something, especially a sales, and it doesn't stick. You know, you're like, what did that guy say? Or what did that gal say? But with Jerry, it was always such good narration and storytelling that you got it right away. So thanks for sharing that with me, Aimee. And do you want to know something? I'm gonna share a little secret with you. There was a sales rep years and years ago, Angelo G. Lombardo. There's no way he's still alive. If he is, he's like 100 years old. And Angelo, if you're alive and you're watching this, thank you for everything you did for me, brother. We had a sales contest at Kronheim's Furniture when I was in retail. And Angelo, on his Sealy stationery, wrote me a personal note. He said, here's what first place is, second place is, third place. And then he wrote, mow him down, Pete. And he signed his name. And I won. And I barely won. I won by like $100 or something stupid. I'm like, Angelo, that was close, man. I almost lost. He goes, but you won. I'm like, you cannot, if there's reps listening, and I know a lot of reps listen to our show, you have no idea the impact that you could have on somebody's life. You know, years and years ago, I had John Kalensik on, who was a trainer with Sealy early in his career. And he visited a guy after Christmas, and the guy came up and gave him a big hug. And he goes, what's going on? He goes, I was able to have a really good Christmas with my children because of what you taught me. And I had enough extra commission dollars to have a Christmas with my children, and I didn't have to put it on credit cards. Isn't that amazing? Like the impact that one person can have. And so this is what I would say to my fellow reps. Be very, very aware of the blessing that you've been given and the blessing that you can be to others. And at the end, all there's going to be left is stories about how you help somebody if you chose to help them. So be that person and be an Emma to Aimee, right?
Absolutely. It's such a great industry for it though, isn't it? Like, I feel like everyone is very collaborative, and there's such a purpose in what we do in sleep that it makes it, you know, while competitive, it's also still really collaborative.
There's such a thing, right, as
right?
being competitive and still being a good human being and being supportive, understanding you're not going to win every battle, but you're going to eventually win, and it's all going to be good. So she helped you. She bought this book, gave you a note, took you out to dinner, taught you. What was the most important thing that you got from her? Like when you see like a picture of Emma, what do you think?
Gosh, I think that was really good. Always you have to know your product, right? And I think that's really important. But she genuinely, exactly what you said, she genuinely cared about helping me. She kind of sparked that thing in me. And then I went on later to work with amazing people. I feel really fortunate to work with some of the best people in the industry. I got to work with some people from Sleep Number in the US who trained me. I spent like 3 months traveling with one of their trainers, learning a 5-day process of, you know, we ran a 5-day training program. So it kind of sparked that purpose in me of, you know, you're able to really make a difference in someone's life. And then learning more and more about sleep science and understanding sleep science. And then I became kind of obsessed with that obsession of learning more and more as much as I could about sleep science. And I feel like that's the one thing that really builds purpose and passion in people in this industry, is being able to make such a huge difference in someone's life. Having, you know, sometimes I hear it and it's, you know, it can be a little bit frustrating. Sometimes I hear in industry, like it's really hard to find good people, or it's really hard to find good RSAs, whatever else. But honestly, like that comes from us. Everyone, being able to influence the RSA that you're making and help them understand and teach them about sleep and what a difference they can make in someone's life. Not just, sleep is great, but really getting down into the deep. And we have a lot of people in industry now who can do this, which is really exciting, but getting down into the deep benefits of sleep and understanding that, it's not just a mattress, it's an entire sleep system. And how do we help someone, not every night's going to be great for sleep. Like, we understand that everything's, changes, life changes. We go through all different times in life, but how do we help someone most of the time have the best sleep of their life? So it's not while they're sleeping, because no one knows that they don't really know they're sleeping well when they're actually doing it. It's while they're awake, right? It's how do we change someone's waking life by giving them the best possible opportunity at getting a great night's sleep the night before.
There's no doubt. Oh, hold on. RJ. I love RJ. Jacksonville Bedin. This is RJ. Loving the bonus show. Thank you, Aimee and Pete, for making this happen. This is a very important episode. Yes, it is, because we're going to go deep into sleep. So thank you, RJ. And if that's you, Tara, I apologize, but usually you say it's you, Tara, when it is. But I think you're not around. I think RJ's holding down the fort today. Sleep number. Anybody who knows anything about our industry knows that, love them or hate them, you have to respect Sleep Number's process. And they are among the very, very best trained sales professionals. And you want to talk about a process and you want to talk about consistency. Sleep Number has their name high up on that list. So doesn't surprise me that you mentioned them, because when Chris was telling me about you, and I'm like, okay, so this is not par for the course. Somebody who's completely and totally passionate about wellness and sleep. And so a lot of times we talk about the three-legged stool, and we talk about diet, we talk about exercise, and we talk about rest. And the biggest part of rest, obviously, is sleep, right? Mm-hmm. Not that naps aren't important. And if you want to go off into that, you can, more about this stuff than I do. But years ago, when I started at CrossFit, Pascal, there's a fire. Wow, Aimee.
My Canadian friend. Hi, Pascal.
It absolutely, that's the word, fire. Absolutely. They had, exercise kind of as the base, and then nutrition, and then sleep. And now it's reversed. At the base of the pyramid, the very first, if you're only going to do one thing, the one thing that even CrossFit tells you is you have to get rest, and that's a good night's sleep. Then the nutrition, then the exercise is the spear. It's the top part of that pyramid, because without proper nutrition and proper rest, you can't recover from the exercise, right? The exercise often tears down your body, especially if it's intense exercise. And then you repair that body with proper nutrients, and you repair that body during sleep. So that is your segue into sleep. And what would you consider the basics that a sales pro working the retail floor really needs to understand about sleep?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think you're totally right there on that our body repairs during sleep. And even the one thing for those who are obsessed with exercise and, muscle growth is that you mentioned, our muscles repair during sleep, which is that. So our body receives about almost 80% of our daily HGH, which is human growth hormone, during that deep sleep period, which is in the first part of the night. So when we're talking to people about, their fitness, their wellness, their recovery, and their muscle growth, I think that that's really important for, muscle growth, knowing that, HGH I know is drug that was banned from the Olympics because people were trying to use it. But our body naturally, if we can get it into that really deep state of sleep early in the night, our body naturally produces, we have a huge boost of HGH. So not only is sleep really important for our body repair and, you know, overall wellness, it's our mental stability, it's our decision making. So we know when we're underslept that our amygdala, which is just basically like the core basic human function, really fires off, and our frontal lobe actually slows down and doesn't work as hard. So we're going to make more irrational decisions. We're going to respond more irrationally to any kind of stress. And we actually perceive stress as being more worse than what it is than when we're well slept. So when we're sleep deprived, we think something is going to be worse, or we perceive it as being worse than when we are well slept. So hi, John all the way from Canada as well. Thanks for joining.
John's going to be on this show very quickly. Let me see. March 3rd, my friend. I'm looking forward to having you on, John, and us telling your story as well. So thanks for saying hi.
Thanks for saying hi. Yeah. So, you know, sleep is not only really important for that physical recovery, our mental wellness, but also it clears out, a lot of people know the lymphatic stories. So understanding like our body has lymphatic drainage, which removes the toxins from the rest of our body during sleep, and particularly during deep sleep. Our brain sends cerebral spinal fluid. Our brain actually shrinks a little bit, which is kind of cool. The actual brain matter shrinks, and it allows for cerebral spinal fluid to flow up through our brain and clean out any of the waste. So if you have someone that feels really overwhelmed, it actually gets rid of or, you know, clears out the proteins that are known to cause Alzheimer's. So being able to kind of flush out that brain to start a new day is really important as well. We know that when we're sleep deprived, our leptin, which is our full hormone, it tells us that we're full, and our ghrelin, which is our hunger hormone. So our ghrelin is increased when we're sleep deprived. So our body tells us we are more hungry and we are less full, which in turn affects our diet. So you're exactly right. The sleep is the foundation of our diet and exercise and having the energy and recovery that we need to be our best selves the next day.
That's awesome, Aimee. I have a question for you. I'm dying to ask you. Is it true that if somebody's trying to lose weight, if they could get an extra hour or two a night, it would help them actually eat less and lose weight faster? Is that true, or is that like a myth?
It depends on like an extra hour. If you're getting, you know, 5 hours, an extra hour is, yeah, definitely going to make a big difference. If you're getting 8 hours, possibly. But yeah, so if you're sleep deprived, we know that those who are getting like 4 hours of sleep, if they increase their sleep compared to, you know, 8 hours or 5 or 6 hours, we know that there's better, your metabolism is directly linked to sleep, as well as your insulin resistance too. So yes, again, with the leptin and ghrelin. So yes, when we are sleep deprived, it actually shows we're about 24% more hungry and also less full. So our body tells us that we need more food and we feel less full. And I know that feeling. I don't think I'm ever full. Anyone who's been out for dinner with me will know I will eat until there is nothing left. But yes, yeah, definitely. It does help and is directly correlated, like sleep duration is directly correlated with BMI as well. So we find that people who sleep for longer generally have a lower BMI.
How did you learn all this stuff?
Being a little bit obsessed with kind of my brain. You know what? It's being really, really curious. You know, I think ever since I've been young, like ever since I was young, I was always determined to know what's about everything. You know, if I don't know enough, I still don't know enough about it. So yeah, I've read books, listened to podcasts. I've done online courses as well. So I did my WINC course, CB, cognitive behavioral therapy and insomnia, which is a really great one if anyone is interested in that. That's WINC Sleep. Dr. Michael Gradisare runs that, and he's really great. It's just becoming obsessed with it. Obviously I did a lot of sleep science early in the day, and then I wanted to continue to learn more and more over the years. But also I think the really important thing when we talk about sleep is not to make it all doom and gloom. I feel like it's really scary. Like a lot of the impacts of sleep deprivation can be really frightening. And then that's when it causes people to stress about not getting enough sleep. And then that's when it's like they lay in bed, and if they're not sleeping, they think about all the bad things that are going to happen. So I think, being able to have really basic conversations and regular conversations around sleep is really important as well. So saying, every day. And I would love if anyone is still listening to this and on the chat, like, how did you sleep last night? It doesn't need to be great, even if it's like someone who is in sleep. If you didn't get a great night's sleep, sleep changes every day. But, Pete, how did you sleep last night?
I slept great. I did. So how did you sleep last night, which really was just a few minutes ago?
Yeah, I feel like I slept pretty good. Normally I do track my sleep, and I haven't looked at it yet this morning. But yeah, I feel like I slept pretty well. I have two young kids. I have a 3-year-old and a 8-year-old. And, sometimes they wake me up in the middle of the night, or I hear them cry, so it's not every night is a great night's sleep. But last night I actually slept pretty good. I think I got a full, 7 or 8 hours, but it's something that's important to me, and it's something that I do prioritize. I'm very strict in our house that we turn the lights down. Here we've got.
Oh, did you see what JR did to himself?
Yeah, but that's okay. He knows better. See, it's like, don't be hard on yourself today. It's like, if you had a bad sleep, you kind of know it. Take it easy on yourself today. And, today we're not going to do the same thing. So
JR says, I actually struggled to sleep last night. 2 cups of coffee after 10. Yes, I know better. LOL. All right. So here's your deal. Hydrate, 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 because not only does it mess you up with your sleeping, but it messes you up with your hydration. Right?
yes.
Krista Haney, just when you think Aimee knows it all, she posts about her latest certificate from the University of Michigan.
Well, that was a little while ago. Because I was kind of not, I was not that I wasn't working, because I'm continuously working. I was working on my business, but that was one of the things that I really enjoyed. So that's also a really great certificate. You can do that online. I even think if you don't want the certificate, you can do that as a free course. So this is a great. University of Michigan offer some courses around sleep and neuroscience, which is really interesting if you want to get deep into the neuroscience of it. But generally they have a sleep wellness course as well, which is really cool that they offer online.
Aimee, my producer is almost perfect. Chris Stone is an amazing human being and one of the best producers, certainly the best one I've ever worked for. But there is one fault that he has. He's a Michigan Wolverine fan.
Go Blue.
Almost perfect, Chris. So, Aimee.
Well, I don't have a team, so maybe I should go for them.
There you go.
Gordon. Oh, Gordon.
Oh, I love Gordon. Gordon asks or says, no, he's going to say, great to see Aimee. People may not like having to buy a new mattress, but everyone wants a great night of sleep. Gordon, you have a way with words. You really do. He's so elegant. So good.
You know what? A wealth of knowledge. If anyone can sit down with Gordon and have a conversation, I feel really fortunate that I got to meet Gordon a couple of years ago in Atlanta and in person. And I am just amazed by him. I will listen to Gordon speak and read all of his articles and everything all the time. I think he's so awesome to have in this industry. So great to have you here, Gordon.
Gordon has been an absolute blessing to our industry. So, Aimee, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
In the last 20 years, what in your mind is the best innovation, or you were glad to see it become more mainstream that actually helps people to get a better, deeper, more restorative night's sleep?
Ooh, that's a great question. Look, I'm probably going to say this because it's my area of expertise, and or where I've really spent a lot of time learning about the benefits of it, and I've been able to kind of blessed to help people work in this area, but a lifestyle base, like to have it become mainstream, and to see the impact of, you know, changing people from sleeping on a flat bed is pretty exciting. When I started, because I worked for Ergo for about 5.5 years, and when I started, one of the things that I did was I did a lot of research into, like, why would someone want this? So in Australia, it wasn't mainstream at all. It was a very small percent. And I used to ask people, like, what do you think your conversion rate is on lifestyle adjustable bases? And they would tell me 1, maybe 2% or 3% at that time. It was really very small. But I had known in the US it had really taken off. So one of the big things I wanted to do was find out what happened in the US and then create a case for how we can make this happen in Australia. But at the same time, I also managed to do a lot of research in why a consumer wants this product, or why they even benefit from this product. And I found some awesome statistics around how many people sleep in bed, read in bed, watch TV in bed. And it really did become a lifestyle product and help people build a sleep system. And the thing that I always say about lifestyle bases is, and somebody please prove me wrong on this, I'm always open to hearing why I'm wrong, but is that you won't find a bed that feels good flat, that feels as good as any bed feels in 0G. And that's like a really interesting case for, you know, as a sleep professional, you want to make sure that the consumer is as comfortable. Oh, hi, Karina.
Thanks for saying hi, Karina.
Yeah. So that's something that I am really confident about, is that it's really changing the way we have to make people feel as comfortable as possible. And the way to make them feel as comfortable is not only finding them the perfect comforting mattress, but creating an entire sleep system that is going to allow them to adjust their level of comfort. Sit up. We know that when you raise the feet, it's going to take a little bit of pressure off that lower back. We know when you raise the head, it's going to open up the airways and make breathing a little bit easier. And that's going to affect a lot of people. So you know that up to 60% of people are affected by snoring. So Philips Sleep Survey found that almost, I think it was 59% of people were affected by either their own snoring, their partner snoring, or sleep apnea. So being able to provide an entire solution, not just a mattress when a customer walks into a store, is really important. 39% of people read in bed to try and help their sleep. 37% of people watch TV in bed before they go to sleep. And I think this number is probably higher, but everyone listening can probably let us know. But pretty much everyone, we found 84% of people use their phone in bed. But I reckon that's closer to 100% now, if anyone can tell us if they use their phone in bed. And look, we talk about it not being a great thing to do, but there's a lot of evidence that now, and again from Dr. Michael Gradiz's research, that the calming effect of someone being able to have their phone is probably more important, and has less of an impact on their sleep than the blue light. The blue light has less of an impact. So people being able to use their phone in bed comfortably and not drop it on their face. I always say, if someone tells me they use their phone in bed, I'm always like, have you ever dropped your phone on your face? That moment when you fall asleep. So yes, the answer to that question, lifestyle base, I really think that's probably of this, of the last 20 years, what I've been privy to as being one of the most impactful things that someone can have on their sleep.
Yes, Randy Thompson. So Randy Thompson, let me tell you about Randy Thompson, Aimee. He owns a store in Van Wert, Ohio. It's called Van Wert Bedrooms. Okay, it's a little sleep shop. It's a town of just under 11,000 people. This gentleman sells 35 to 45 adjustable beds a month, every month. So I named him the adjustable bed guru. So now he has said, Pete, you found the Mrs. Adjustable Bed Guru, LOL. So
that's so cool. Your whole town is going to be sleeping so much better. That's awesome.
That's funny. So on the adjustable beds, you know, there are some salespeople, believe it or not, that don't believe. They think that it's a mammoth add-on. It's like for the salesperson's benefit, not the customer's benefit. What would you say to that salesperson to try to turn them around and get them to see the light? Because to me, us that know, we know that it can absolutely revolutionize somebody's life. Forget about just their sleep piece of it. If they're not getting a good night's sleep every night and they do with an adjustable bed, but you withheld an adjustable bed, you didn't show it to them, you didn't let them make the decision, you just cheated them out of a better life. But what would you say to them? How would you try to drive the point home that it's really in the customer's best interest most of the time to get an adjustable bed and the benefits that come along with it?
That's such a great question. And I think the thing is, most people know what they need to know. It's like, how do we make it make sense for them, right? So there's a few points that I like to kind of point out with that. And the first one is, you know, bedding has really evolved over the last 10 years. And we only get to see our consumers and our customers once every 8.5 years now, I think was the last report on how often people change their mattress. So once every 8.5 years, people are changing their mattress. And in the last 8.5 years, the lifestyle-based category has grown to be, it actually took off. So it was 2016. I think in the US, there was about 300, in 2016, there was 360,000 lifestyle bases sold in the US. 2015, 360,000. 2016, it went to 1.1 million. The following year, it went to 2.3 million. The following year, it went to 3.2 million. So that's from the ISPA report on adjustable bases. So we literally saw it took off. But what that means is people that haven't been shopping for a bed for 8.5 years don't even know that this product exists. So the first thing I would say is, like, don't feel like you have to sell it. You do not have to sell this product. You are literally doing the customer service by showing them how people sleep now and what is available to them now and showing them an entire sleep system. So literally don't sell it, just demonstrate it. And the more people you demonstrate it to, you'll get, like, the average now is 1 in 10 people are going to buy it. So that's what the US has shown. People that do a really great demonstration have up to 60% conversion rate. So if you can do a really great demonstration and understand what the customer wants and what the benefits of it are for the customer, then that's awesome. But at least 1 in 10. And then we look at it depends what really appeals to that person in particular. If they want to look at how it's going to help their consumer, then we look at the benefits. If they want to look at how it's going to grow their business, then we do the maths on, okay, if you're converting 5% now, let's look at what it looks like converting 10, 15% of to have an attachment rate. Now, here's the one thing I always say is, and the first thing I used to do whenever I would walk into a retailer or even speak to our distributors, I would ask them what their attachment rate is. A lot of people don't like to hear this. If you don't know your attachment rate, it's not good. It's like if you're a runner and you really love to run and you're really passionate about it, if you don't like, it doesn't even matter how fast you are. If you don't know what time or speed you're doing, you don't really care. If you really care, you'll know your attachment rate. And if it's really good, you'll definitely know it and you'll be proud to talk about it. So I think knowing that attachment rate, but also we can't improve what we don't measure. So knowing what that attachment rate is and even setting a small goal. If it's 2%, let's get 5% and look at what impact that would make on our business. But also there's the benefits. You know, we know that if you look at 39% of people read in bed, 37% of people read in bed, 39% of people watch TV in bed, and 60% of people are affected by snoring in some way. How do we, you know, that's almost 100%, that's over 100% of people that walk through our door that are going to fit having a lifestyle sleep system. So it's just asking the right questions. So I would help them learn to ask the right questions to get them there, and learning a really easy way to show it and not sell it. I would say show it, don't sell it. Don't feel like you have to sell it. And the key point there too, Pete, is if someone doesn't buy it today, normally that consumer who would come in to buy a mattress every 8.5 years and only comes to see us for a mattress every 8.5 years, maybe they come back for the base in 2 years. Maybe they come back for the base in a month. Maybe they come back for the base and a pillow in 4 years. So instead of having someone spending in our store only every 8.5 years, they're coming back every so often just because we took the time to show them. And I would say you're doing like the customer an injustice if you don't let them see what's available to them, because they don't know. People don't go researching beds in their spare time. It's not the most interesting thing for most people to research. So they're really relying on the guidance of the retail sales associate and the people at the store.
So when you see, well, Gordon's got a question. Gordon is so brilliant. Gordon asks, if adjustable beds were the same price as a box spring, which would most people choose?
Yeah.
That's a great question, Gordon. I love that. I'm taking that.
That's
I will give you credit for it though, Gordon.
Yeah. So it's not the option of whether they like it or not. Of course they would have it. Yeah. Good point. Thanks, Gordon.
You know, whether it's helping somebody breathe easier, taking the pressure off the lower back and the hips, any aches and pains that have to do with sports, whether it's neck, shoulder, back, knees, hips, all of that is improved dramatically. And boy, if somebody really has, you know, sleep apnea, getting that head up and making it easier to breathe is so much easier. And Justin Trumbo taught me this when I started to work with Justin at BedTech. Just have the customer take 3 deep cleansing breaths while they're laying down, and then bring them up to 45 degrees. Now tell them what you're doing before you do it, and have them take those 3 same deep cleansing breaths and ask them, which way is it to breathe easier? And you can look at their face and they're going, it's easier to breathe. And like before they even say it, like you can see it in their face, right? And you can even tell by how they're breathing in, because they're breathing in deeper when they're at 45 degrees.
If you can help someone breathe better, it's like during sleep, that's our life force. Everything in the body works better when we have better breath.
Yep. 100%. Oh, I knew this was going to happen. This stinks. I thought, we're 10 minutes in. What else am I going to ask her? And I'm like, I got 16 minutes left and 5 hours of questions. Oh my Lord. Aimee, what I always do with all of my guests is I ask them, was there something that I didn't ask you that you wanted me to ask you today? There's something that I should have asked you about training, about wellness, about sleep, that you want to talk about that I didn't ask?
Oh, that's a great question. I think in our industry, the most important thing and the most important impact we can have is training people the right way. And you would know this. I know you know this. But being able to build that sense of purpose in what they're doing. I have never met a retail sales associate who is not motivated when they know about sleep and they know about the wellness and health benefits of a sleep system, like an entire sleep system, not just this mattress is going to be comfortable for you. So I think, yeah, just as anyone, and I know you have so many brilliant people that watch this and that tune into the Pete Primeau show. And so a lot of people that I really admire and know this already, but it's being able to make that impact on someone. So we as a whole have the ability to really influence the next generation coming through, the younger people coming through in the industry that really are fresh to it. And I always found, and this would be really interesting from a lot of your store owners as well, I always found that, you know, having people move into our industry out of hospitality was something they always did really, really well. So whether it was, you know, they were a server at a restaurant or they, you know, worked in a bar or anything like that, I found people moving into the industry out of hospitality. So if anyone's having trouble finding people, hospitality people always worked really, really well in bedding. But we have a legacy to kind of pass on to make sure that they're inspired by sleep. We make a huge impact in people's lives in sleep. And also we give them all the knowledge that they need to make a difference to people's lives. And part of that is a lot of people already know. I think I already said this, like make it make sense. People know the answers. Like let's ask them the questions and they lead themselves to the solution. So whenever we're doing training, one of the things I always focus on is letting them lead themselves to the solution, asking all the questions and having them work it out in their own brain. So it's like, how do you use your phone in bed? You know, same with the customer. Do you fall asleep somewhere else other than bed? Oh, I fall asleep in the recliner. Well, there's a reason for that. Like that's very normal. A third of people actually do that. So I'm really grateful to be here with you and be able to be around so many great people in the industry. And I think if we can carry on teaching about sleep and sleep science and having people just understand the basics of sleep wellness and what an impact they're making in someone's life, but also understanding that a great night's sleep is always not just about a mattress. You know, a mattress retailer is great and people have traditionally gone into a mattress retailer, but the only reason people are going to come back to our store within that 8.5 years, it's really hard to build a connection with the consumer every 8.5 years. And so I think one of the things when we demonstrate or we show a whole sleep solution, even if the customer doesn't purchase all of it on that day, we're building a reason for them to come to us more often than every 8.5 years. And that builds the connection that we're not just a mattress store. We're really building a relationship. We care about sleep. We care about your sleep. And we want to help you have all of the sleep solutions that you need to get there. So one of the things I would say also is just to focus on what other sleep solutions are there around the mattress, not just the mattress itself. That we can provide our consumers, because wellness industry is booming. And if we can, you know, look at other solutions that promote sleep wellness and recovery, that's really going to be a market that is growing right now and people are really focused on.
If I own a store and I'm asking you, Aimee, how often should I do sales meetings? What would your answer be?
Every morning.
Oh my
And it
Lord,
doesn't need
you
to be
sound like Brent Batterman. I love that. That is
it
such
doesn't
a
need to
great
be long.
answer. Did you
It
hear
can
that?
be 5 minutes.
She said every morning. And then she said it doesn't need to be long, guys and gals. Could be 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go out there and start pitching a baseball before you've warmed up, or swinging a bat before you warmed up, or taking a jump shot before you warmed up. if you're a sports person. So it's early in the morning. Some people have had their cup of coffee, and some people are smarter and they have tea. And we're going to give them a 5 to 10 minute sales meeting. How would you open it up?
That's a great question. The first thing I was always taught before a sales meeting was to go walk the floor and like check on it, like walk the floor together with the team and check on everything on the floor. That was like way back in the day that I was taught. But at the sales meeting, I would open it with, how did you sleep last night? That's the first thing. We need to care about how our people slept. And just so they can have that conversation with our customer and make it a really casual conversation. It doesn't need to be, oh, well, I didn't sleep well and then I got worse sleep than you. I think it's we need to listen to people and how they did sleep and then show empathy. So it's not a competition at all. It's literally like, let's focus on you, how you slept. And then generally we look at the sales numbers and we look at our goal for the day and look at tasks for the day and what the outcome needs to be. As a team too, collectively, we might look at where we are for the month. Again, if you can't measure, you can't improve it. So look at the numbers where we are for the month. And Dan,
I love you, Dan. Retail is detail. Walk that floor. 100%. 100%. Me and Dan worked together at Protect-A-Bed years ago. And he's doing a great job in the finance industry now and still serving the industry. And it's great to have you here, Dan. Thanks for tuning in. If I'm a store owner, Aimee, and I'm trying to put together, a program, maybe I have not been tracking all the KPIs that I should be. And, I love what you said. You can't improve unless it's measured. And, a great question to ask is, what's your attachment rate? Whether we're talking about protectors or sheets or pillows, or we're talking about adjustable beds, what is your attachment rate? And you get that blank stare back and they don't measure it at all. And, this is one of the more difficult things with a single store owner who's really the salesperson, the janitor, the secretary, the delivery guy or gal for that matter. But what would you say the key things they should measure? If they're not measuring anything, like, what would you encourage them if you're just going to say 3 key measurements that could impact their business the most?
Oh, great question. So I think obviously comparative sales. So sales versus either month before or last year. So comparative sales versus target. So sales versus target.
Yep.
Definitely attachment rate. I think when your attachment is sometimes double the sale, attachment rate of lifestyle basis or as a sleep system, or total attachment rate. So it might be just the number of pieces in addition to a mattress, which is really great. So it's not everything. It could be, we sold 8 pieces per sale or along those lines. So, and then AUV is definitely, or average sale price. I don't know what's called over there. Average unit value.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
100%.
I agree with that.
Really, really important. But also we want to make sure that people, the amount of people we talk to, we want hopefully all of them buy from us, but not all of them are. So, but I just want to add one thing. I always love to ask, what's a win that someone wants to share? And I really think getting people to share their successes is super important because it builds momentum, and success builds success. So it might make them share something that would work well for someone else in the team. So having people share their successes, 1, it helps them be recognized for it. 2, it helps them, build their confidence in it. You are being seen, and congratulations, that's awesome. But 3, it helps us learn from each other rather than someone preaching what people should be doing.
Yep. I agree. I was, whenever we can get our people to share their wins, that's great. sometimes if they're shy, and I know they're shy and I know they won't, I'll just share the win for them. And then I'll ask them, tell us how you did it. And that'll open that whole thing up. And one of the best things that we could ever accomplish in our 5 to 10 minute sales meeting before we go on the floor every day, if our salespeople start to get their sales machinery thinking, oh, that worked for Mary Jo. She did this, this, and that. And that situation very likely could present itself and we end up with another win. But even if it doesn't, we're starting to think about sales, right? We're like making that transition from we were at home, we were playing mom, we were playing dad, we were playing husband, wife, mother, father, whatever it is that we were doing. And now we're a sales pro that helps a retail customer get a better night's sleep and wake up happy and pain-free, or at least as happy and pain-free as they can given their situation, right? And
Absolutely.
so I love sharing wins. I think it's the single most important thing that we ever do in management. And that does, it does, whether it's in retail or wholesale management,